Welcome to Bruce McCulloch Remembers Things. And today on my YouTube channel, I'm just saying that because I don't know what it is, I have a special guest. It is none other than Kevin McDonald. No, you don't have to do that. The crash, yeah, we do the crash position whenever we zoom in on a sign. So Kevin, we're at the Rivoli,
yes.
And something to look forward to if you look forward to things is we've recorded our show that we've just been doing a show together,
yes.
And we recorded it with some nice audio,
yes.
And some video, and we'll be dropping that, as you say, very shortly.
Yes.
But Kevin,
yes.
Just tell me, like, honestly, what is your first memory of coming to the Rivoli?
Oh, the first time I came to the Rivoli? Well, it's boring. There's nothing interesting about it. Dave Foley and
that
another guy.
That sounds interesting.
Luciano Casmi, that's an interesting name. We were a comedy troupe, and we came to be the house band. The first time I came was to perform. We performed, and we were really nervous, and there were only 4 people in the audience, and we still bombed, which is hard to do, to bomb with 4 people in the audience.
Well, yes, I understand.
I think you should need at least 20.
Well, perhaps they were scholars or just people who weren't into your kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you were doing like Gustav the Fern Slayer thing.
Gustav the Fern Slayer?
That was their big scene. A guy who was a soldier, sort of, who...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Gustav the Fern Slayer. Also, we had the one-armed usher, where I was a one-armed usher.
And, yeah.
And then I was the bad guest who Dave blew up.
Right. And so, do you remember when we started doing shows here? How we started doing shows here?
Yes. We always say Monday, but I believe this is boring. I believe the first time we did it was Tuesdays.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Stop the presses. Yeah, and it was funny because we were doing shows last night, and then Kevin wanted to go and put his script on the music stand, and he said, am I going to get in trouble? Because I'm known as a little bit of an asshole, or was. I'm wonderful now.
He's wonderful. Now he's known as a wonderful.
A wonderful. But so when we first came here, do you remember, I would like not let, we couldn't be seen by the audience.
Oh, that's right.
Because that was rock and roll. And look how small the place is. Just pan around and look at it. Yeah, not like we're not in a super important club. So, but no, you can't let the audience see you, man, because I thought that was the fun.
You were
thing.
especially angry at me because I needed a pace, and people would.
I said you can't let them see you before the show, and then of course I wouldn't see people after the show either because I didn't think that was right, which is why I was single for many years, didn't need anyone at all. So tell me just a couple fun memories, or
I have several. I'll keep this one short. There was no curtain back here. Can we zoom to the curtain? There was no curtain. So Mark McKinney always, he got a curtain, he had a curtain, and he made the curtain. Before, like, we rehearsed Monday afternoon before the show, he sewed the curtain and he would staple it to the top. And one day, out of the blue, I was in a good mood, I was being nice. After the rehearsal, he got mad at me. I remember he almost threw his cigarette at me. He smoked back then, and he said, "You do the curtains, I'm sick of it. I'm gonna have a whole dinner this time." And I'm useless. Look, I don't have the hands of a surgeon.
hands of a squirrel, perhaps.
And so I was there crying. I missed the whole dinner. It took me an hour, and finally it stapled in. And then, can the camera follow me?
Yep.
And then the show started, and Mark had the first entrance, and he did this, and the curtain fell on top of him, and he tripped. And then later, what happened to the curtain? My girlfriend made a dress out of it.
Yeah. And then she left you in that dress.
And then
right?
she left me.
Wearing that dress.
Wearing that dress.
And 2 suitcases, sort of a classic 60s images. No, but with this curtain we used to do, which was kind of a funny thing I thought, is we would bring someone up from the audience, and like it was they were in bed, we'd staple the curtain to the back wall.
Yes.
And we would tell them a silly, weird story, getting a few improv things.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was good, right?
That was very fun. And I'm sure that was your idea.
Yeah. I think that was Mark's. And what about the time Scott hurt his hand?
Yes, Scott hurt his hand. Can we zoom there? It'll be in the dark, but at least it's interesting. We used to have a little tiny stage there. We called it side stage, and Scott was over there, and he was bombing. And so when Scott bombs, he goes on logger, and he had libs, and he does this a lot. And he smashed his hand against a nail that was sticking out this way for some reason. And then we thought his next ad lib was, can I swear on your channel?
Yeah.
I've cut my fucking hand! I've cut my And we were waiting for the joke. And then he showed it, and it was bleeding. And, is that why you brought him to the hospital?
Yes. A couple times I brought Scott to the hospital because I'm the only one in Kids in the Hall, probably still, who has a credit card that will go through. But yeah, we were doing a scene about the mafia. And it was like a really bad, it was one of our really bomb scenes. Some people have asked about what were our bad scenes. This was one, a sort of a parody of a mafia thing. Yes. And he was supposed to get the gun from the toilet, a la Godfather.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's so gross, I'm not putting my hand in the toilet. And then he went on and on and on.
And then cut his hand.
And
I remember the mafia scene.
yeah.
Was that the one where the Godfather said, all right, I'll do that for you, but one day I may ask you for a favor. Then a year later he calls me and says, hey, look, I want to date a woman, but she wants to bring a friend and I need another guy. That's sort of funny.
That's pretty funny.
That's sort of funny.
pretty funny.
So the mafia scene, sorry.
And what are
So many Rivoli memories. So many.
They must be coming back to you as your.
I keep thinking this is Disney Channel. Can I tell one?
Sure.
Will Dave mind this?
No.
Mark did a blues singer character, and he always had Dave's friend Ray Gould, who was a very good guitarist.
We'll change that name in post.
Oh yeah.
It'll be in
Smay
post.
Smoo.
Yeah.
And he always got Smay Smoo to play the guitar in him. But Dave and Smay Smoo had just had an ugly fight over a woman.
It usually is.
They were talking. One of them didn't have the woman anymore, and the woman was with another. You have a woman, and the woman was with the other one. And then Mark said.
And they had broken up.
They had broken up. They weren't friends anymore. They were hating each other. And Mark said, "Hey Dave, could you get Smay Smoo Coleman? I'd like him to do to play guitar for me, to do blues guy." And Dave said, "Well, I can't. We're not talking to each other." And Mark said, "Come on! It's for the show. You gotta." No, Mark, I can't. It'd be more than uncomfortable. And they went on for a bit. And then Bruce said, "Mark, my parents haven't talked in 30 years. Why don't you ask them to play guitar for you?"
Oh. Now that was a funny story. We're going to do one more piece, but thank you for tuning into Bruce McCulloch Remember Stuff with guest Kevin McDonald.